Hey, welcome back to the Debt Sucks podcast. I'm Ben Matthews, bankruptcy attorney, professional debt translator, and your guide through this ongoing financial experiment we call adulting. Today we're hitting non-negotiable number 2, energy control. And let's get this out of the way early. This is not about self-care hacks, morning routines, crystals, or finding your balance. This is about control. But here's the truth nobody talks about. You can make good money and still be exhausted. You can be doing fine and still feel wrecked. You can have a plan on paper and no energy left to follow it. And if your finances are draining your energy, you're running a deficit everywhere else. That's not a motivation problem. That's a systems problem. Debt doesn't just take your money, it hijacks your brain and keeps you in reaction mode, always catching up, always tired, always one step behind. That's like trying to drive your life on empty and acting surprised when the engine starts knocking. But here's the shift, and this is where true wealth shows up. When you get energy control, everything gets easier. You stop living in constant catch-up mode. You can actually think instead of just reacting. You make decisions because they're smart, not because they stop the panic for 5 minutes. You get your bandwidth back. And here's the part most people miss. Energy control starts with money control. Because when your money stops screaming for attention, your nervous system finally shuts up. You sleep better. You communicate better. You plan instead of brace for impact. This isn't about finding balance. That's cute. That's vague. This is about taking your power back from chaos, from stress, from a financial setup that's been draining you dry. And once you do, you stop surviving. You start building true wealth. And that's exactly where we're going next. The problem, money draining your energy. Let's call it like it is. If you're always tired, always stressed, always on edge, always stuck in survival mode, it's probably because your money's running the show and you're not in control. That's not just draining your bank account, it's draining you mentally and physically. Money problems don't just eat your cash, they suck your energy too. Constant financial stress means your brain is on overdrive 24/7 trying to figure out how the hell you're going to pay for everything. Living paycheck to paycheck means you're always one bad day away from a meltdown, never able to just breathe. Debts piling up or no savings? The worry doesn't stop. It follows you into the shower, into your dinner, into your sleep. Let's hit you with the ugly truth. When your money's out of control, your energy gets drained before you even get out of bed. You don't wake up with a clear head. You wake up thinking, where the hell is my next dollar coming from? And that fatigue, it isn't just tiredness, it's exhaustion. And you can't fight that battle. You can't think straight. You can't show up as your best self, whether that's at work, with your partner, or with your kids. Take it from me. If your finances are stealing your energy, you're already playing from behind, and you'll never get ahead without taking control. Here's a real-life example. I had a client. Let's call him Mike. Mike was living paycheck to paycheck, and this wasn't some low-wage gig. This was a nice paycheck. He was pulling in 6 figures. But here's the kicker. Despite all that, he couldn't keep his head above water. He worked 60-hour weeks, busting his ass, and still struggled to pay bills on time. That kind of stress doesn't just hurt your bank account. It drains you mentally and physically. Mike was exhausted. His marriage was falling apart because he was so overwhelmed by financial anxiety, he couldn't even show up emotionally for his wife. It was a mess. But here's the real twist. When Mike finally took control, cut his expenses, set up a shit happens fund, and started managing his money instead of reacting to it, he started sleeping again. He got his energy back, and guess what? He actually had enough left over to take his wife out on a real date night. Real life, not just the getting by version. That's the power of money control. It doesn't matter how much you make if you don't control it. It'll control you, and it'll take everything, including your energy. This is the shift we're talking about. Your money doesn't just affect your bank account. It affects your life. The solution? Taking back your energy. Energy control isn't about some self-care nonsense. It's not about bubble baths or Instagram affirmations. It's about setting hard boundaries with your time, money, and focus so you can preserve your actual energy for what really matters. Step 1. Cut out the unnecessary stressors. First, let's get something straight. Stress is a resource killer. When your finances are a hot mess, everything feels like an emergency. You're in a constant fight or flight mode. You're exhausted from overthinking, overworking, and feeling like you're always a step behind. The first step to controlling your energy is cutting out what drains you unnecessarily. And here's where most people go wrong. They think they need more hacks, more to-dos. But you don't need that. You need less chaos, less stress. So let's start with this. Automate your bills with the Debt Sucks tools so you don't have to waste mental energy on them every month. Redirect any extra money straight into your Shit Happens fund. You'll be shocked how much peace that buys you. I've had clients tell me they feel more calm just knowing there's some cushion for life's little curveballs. Create a no-go zone for things that suck your time and energy, like impulse purchases and that constant financial overwhelm. Use our brutally honest money breakdown tool to face your spending and cut the junk. Trust me, your energy will thank you. Step 2. Get your money out of reactive mode. Here's the truth most people ignore. Energy control isn't just about reacting to the chaos in front of you. It's about proactively managing the future. When your finances are constantly in reactive mode, you're just putting out fires, never getting ahead. You're mentally drained because you're constantly trying to fix a broken system that you didn't even set up. This is where money control comes in, the first non-negotiable. You need to stop reacting and start proactively managing your money. Here's the move. Step back and actually build a real plan with the Debt Sucks plan tools, like the Level Up Money Plan. Take a grip on your finances so they stop controlling your day-to-day. Get yourself out of this endless loop of I'll figure this out later, or once I get a raise I'll fix this, because the truth is you can start today. Once you take control of your money, the weight of it stops draining your energy. Your brain gets to focus on something other than surviving. Your time gets back in your hands. And once that happens, you're free to focus on the things that actually matter, like building the kind of life you've been putting off. Step 3, prioritize sleep and mental clarity. So let's talk about sleep for a second. How many nights have you gone to bed staring at the ceiling, stressed about bills, only to wake up feeling like you didn't sleep at all? That's a direct result of financial chaos. When your finances are a mess, they don't just steal your money. They steal your sleep. They rob you of mental clarity. So here's the game changer. When your money isn't mentally draining you, you'll actually sleep better. And when you sleep better, you wake up with energy, not dread. This isn't some fairy tale. It's real. I've seen it happen with my clients. Once they start using the Debt Sucks tools like the Shit Happens Fund and the Brutally Honest Money Breakdown, they stop worrying about bills at 2 a.m. That's control. You stop waking up already stressed out and start waking up with energy to tackle what matters. It's time to take back your sleep and your energy. So let's take a moment to get real. I've worked with people like Mike, who was exhausted despite pulling in a great paycheck. Mike was stuck in reaction mode. Every day he was drowning in the chaos of money problems. He couldn't get ahead because he was always catching up. But once he took control, cut his expenses, and redirected his resources into his Shit Happens fund, he started sleeping better. And guess what? He had energy again. Energy to spend with his family, energy to pursue a side hustle. That's the kind of change I'm talking about. Maya had the same problem, except it was mental energy. She was so buried in financial stress that she couldn't focus at work. And by the time she got home, she was physically drained. We worked through her money control, and once she saw where her money was actually going, she redirected some funds into her emergency fund. Within a few weeks, she was back to showing up at work, not mentally checked out. Her confidence came back. These aren't outliers. This is what happens when you start reacting and start controlling. The shift. Stop living in reaction mode. The shift here isn't just about doing more. It's about doing less with intention. When you're in control, your money doesn't steal your energy. Your decisions don't leave you exhausted. Your confidence fuels your action. And let's face it, you're not just surviving anymore. You're moving toward actual, real control over your life. Once you own your money, you own your energy, you own your peace, and you finally have room to focus on what really matters. Listener Win Segment, True Wealth Win in Action. Let's check in on one of our listeners who's killing it in the money control space and has already started seeing the energy benefits. This one comes from Mark in Detroit. Hey Ben, I've been listening to the podcast for a few months now, and I've made some serious changes. I used to stay up late stressing about bills, worried about how I'd make it to the next paycheck. After hearing you talk about money control, I set up automatic transfers to my savings and created a real budget. It wasn't perfect, but I stopped dreading opening my bank app. Now, I'm sleeping better, and I don't feel like I'm constantly playing catch up. Small wins, but they feel big. Mark, that's a huge win, and you're absolutely on the right track. That shift from panicking to planning makes all the difference. The fact that you're sleeping better and not living paycheck to paycheck means your energy is now going to the things that actually matter. You've claimed control, and that's where the real magic happens. It's all about those small wins adding up to bigger, life-changing results.
Hey, let's get real for a sec. The Debt Sucks plan, it's awesome. It works, but not everyone has the time or the patience to chip away at their financial Mount Everest. Maybe you're drowning right now, like creditors calling your grandma, paycheck gone before it lands, sleepless nights count of drowning. Sound familiar? Listen, you don't have to white-knuckle your way through this alone. Instead of spending years battling debt $1 at a time, I've got you. Bankruptcy isn't a failure, it's a fresh start. And sometimes hitting reset is the smartest thing you can do. At my law firm here in South Carolina, we take the time to listen to your story and help you figure out if bankruptcy is the right choice for you. No pressure, no judgment, just straight answers and real solutions. And if you don't live in South Carolina, don't worry. I can connect you with a trusted attorney in your state. Wherever you are, help is closer than you think. So if you're ready to stop the stress and start fresh, visit debtsucks.info to share a little about your situation or call my office for a free consultation. Let's find your path forward together, because sometimes you don't need a plan, you need a damn lifeline. Let me be that lifeline.
Now I'm going to hit you with the truth. The Debt Sucks plan isn't about quick fixes. It's not about magic formulas that work for a few days and then fall apart. It's about taking real, tangible steps that shift your mindset and your habits. It's about gaining control, real control, of your money, energy, time, and focus. Money control is the first step, but you can't stop there. Once you have control over your finances, you start taking control of your life. And the more you do this, the more energy you free up for what really matters. This is true wealth. It doesn't get flashy or loud, but it builds momentum in ways you don't even realize until you look back and see how far you've gone. Here's what you need to do next. Download the Debt Sucks Listener Pledge at debtsucks.info and make a real commitment to take control. Subscribe to the Debt Sucks podcast so you're not left behind. Follow, like, and leave a review if this episode hit home and you're ready to get serious about taking control of your energy. And come back next week, because we're diving into non-negotiable number 3, relationship stability. And if your money is messing with your relationships, we're fixing that next. Remember, adulting is hard. Debt makes it harder. But taking control of your money and energy, that's how true wealth is actually built.